of polymorphism, and I have told you that polymorphism is one of the ways of OOP. And the way to implement the polymorphism is, one of the ways to implement polymorphism is method overloading and method overriding. Don't neglect this topic. There will be either there will be either theory question, or there will be a difference between method overriding and overloading. Then we have seen method overriding, where the parent class is having a method and the child class is redefining the method in its own way. It is taking the method from the parent class, but the operation performed by the method will be unique to that class. Right? So that was overriding, which is also known as runtime polymorphism or dynamic polymorphism, because dynamically it is going to decide that which particular version of the method is supposed to be called. The priority of the local version is much more compared to the parent class version. So this was all about method overloading and overriding. Then we studied one of the major thing called dynamic method dispatch, where the parent class reference can point to the child class object. This is also called as upcasting. This is also called upcasting. So if you are doing this, if you are using this particular thing, this is actually upcasting, which is possible in Java, where a parent class reference pointing to child class object. That means the reference is the upward. The reference is of the parent class and the object is of child class, which is permissible. And we have justified. I have justified it that why it is possible, right? If you are not if you have a confusion regarding why it is possible and why the reverse is not possible, you can go back to the previous recordings and you can have it. And this, of course, this will be a child class reference pointing to parent class object, which is also known as downcasting, which is not possible directly in Java, which is not. This will be your compile time error. This is going to be your compile time error. So this is what all about dynamic method dispatch. And you can select based on the type of object your parent class reference is pointing. Accordingly, the method version is going to be called. We have seen that in the programs as well. In the programs as well, you can see that we might be having, yes, we are having one dynamic method dispatch. Let me just close everything. Right, so here in this case, this is actually valid. This is dynamic method dispatch. So right now your compiler, your JVM rather, not the compiler, the JVM will say that, okay, I'm pointing to circle, so I will be calling the circle method. And if I'll be right now, once the circle job is over, I can repoint that same reference to another child class, and that particular version will be then called. Now, the thing is, you should have a parent-child relationship if you want to have a dynamic method dispatch. It can be only achieved in parent-child classes. If you are not having any parent-child relationship, then this dynamic method dispatch is not possible. So all okay with the method overriding, overloading and dynamic method dispatch, guys? Shall we move on to, okay, great then, great. We are moving on to the next one small topic of Java. Let me go through the syllabus here to show you. So we have, this is upcasting and downcasting. We have already seen that. And one small topic is left, that is called instance of operator, one of the operator present in Java, and we'll be seeing the use as well. This we have already done, protected data and methods, when we were doing inheritance. So, but this particular topic, array list and class, I'm not going to have it right now in this unit, because in the later unit here you can see that we have altogether one separate unit for list. Right? We will be having different kinds of lists, we will be having different kind of collections present in Java. So here only I'm going to attach this topic array list, and we will be discussing that all the kind of list available in Java. Fine. So I will be skipping the topic for a while, and once the instance of operator is done, I am directly going to move to this particular unit, exception handling, IO, abstract classes and all. Right, so I'll be moving on to the abstract classes then. Okay, so this is just I'm a little bit doing some changes in the sequence to have a continuity in the flow for me as well as for you. Right, so let me start with the demo program itself to make you aware about instance of operator. Let us have a new empty file, instance of demo, right? Instance of demo. Okay, I need to write this line, package line, because I'm not in the default package, but instead I'm in the lecturer package. Okay, let's say what, first of all, as the name suggests, it is an instance of operator. Now when I say instance of operator, it's an operator, right? When, as you have arithmetic operator, as you have logical operator, relational operator, like you have the instance of operator. Now what is the use of instance of operator? Instance of operator, it is going to give you, it's a Boolean operator. It's a Boolean operator. That means it will be giving you either the answer in form of true or false, right? The output will be either true or false, right? It is used to check whether the object belongs to particular class or not. Fine. It is going to give us whether this particular reference is of type this or not. Right. Let me just. It will be very easy to understand with the example. Let's say I'm having a class called animal, or you can have shape either. Let's continue. Shape we have already taken, so I'm creating a class called animal. I'm not right now into the logic what animal will be having. Let's say we'll be having class animal, and I'll be having the instance of operator. I'm having one class to include the main method. So let us create the class. Now here I'll be having my main method, public static void main. Have I started the recording, guys? I just want, yes. So public static void main string args, any variable you can take here, and I'm creating one object of type animal. Animal a is equal to new animal. Fine. So this is okay. Now I want to check that whether this a reference is is the object of the type animal or not. How to check it? With the help of the instance of operator, which will be giving us the output in the form of either true or false. Let us use a very simple example here first. So let's say println system.out.println. Here I'll be writing a instance of is an operator, it's a keyword, so it will be in blue, animal, right? Now here you can say we are just writing this. It is going to return true or false, and that true or false I am printing it here with the help of system.out.println. If you want somewhere else, you can always store that particular thing. I'll be showing you the example as well for that. Let me run this file and show you the output. So you can see here the output is true. Here the output is true. Why it is giving the output as true? Because the type of A and animal, both are same. You are having the object of type class. Let me say, can I animal A1 is equal to null. I am not creating any object right now. I'm just creating a simple reference. See guys, this is possible. सिर्फ आप reference create करो, ये भी possible है. तो ये रेफरेंस क्रिएट करा. अभी मैं ये बोलूंगी, let us check whether A1 is of type animal or not. Right now, what it will be checking, whether the object pointed by A1 is equal to the class animal or not. What should be the output here, and everyone? What should be the output? Whether the, I'm repeating my statement, whether the object, correct Vicky, whether the object pointed by A1 is of type animal or not. What is the value of the object? Correct everyone. Whether, what is the object pointed by A1 right now? A1 is pointing to nothing, right? It's a null. So let us check it one more time. Oh sorry, I have to run the file. You can see here it is giving me the value as false. Now what is one, see this is just this only, you can check the type of the object it is pointing to. Let me give you one more small example to make you aware about the more specific use of instance of operator. Now let's say I'm having a class animal and I'm having the class as say a cat, right? What can be the relationship between animal and cat? Can I establish any relationship between? Yes, cat is an animal, and when you have is a relationship, yes, I can make parent-child relationship. So I'll be having, oh sorry, class extends animal. Very good, right? So when I create, that's it. I'm not into the logic, so I'm not doing it. I'm creating one object called C is equal to new cat. Fine. Now I'm checking. What do you think? What will be the answer now? C, where I want to check whether C is an instance of animal or not. What will be the output, guys? True. Why true? Okay, you all are correct. It is true. Why true? Because cat is an instance, C is an instance of cat. Cat is a child class of animal, and hence you are having, yes, correct. Animal is a parent of cat, and that's why you can say that C is the instance of animal. So let's check it with the output as well. Logically, it feels that it is correct. Yes, even your output is getting true. So this is what all about instance of operator. More use can be, let's say I'm having one method called void M1. I'm just using a random method right now. I'm just no logic into it. So obviously M1 will be inherited into cat because it is not private method. And let's say class bird, right? Class bird. Now, can I establish any relationship between animal, cat, and bird? No, right? We don't have any relationship between these three classes as of now. So let's say I'm having a simple class called bird. Now, I'll be saying like this. Another use is what? You can also do like this. If C instance of animal, what it will return? Either true or false, right? Then and then only you call M1 method, sorry, C.M1. C.M1. Else, don't do it, right? Else, call some another method. If your logic supposes this, if it is the instance of this class, then and then only call this method. Otherwise, not. So here in this case, let's say we don't want else right now. So here, what do you think? M1 will be called or not? M1 will be called or not? Let me share both the things so that I can see your, yes, because this will be returning true. Because this is going to return me true. If I do the same thing with bird, bird B is equal to new bird. And if I write like this, if B is the instance of animal, not possible. Even we are having compile time error, right? Even we are having compile time error. So here only it is saying that it is not compatible. So there is no possibility of calling any method of animal class. Okay? So are you getting the use of instance of operator? Okay. More detailed discussion regarding instance of operator will be seen when we will be doing the interfaces in Java. Fine. So I'm moving on to the next major important topic in Java. The topic is abstract class. We have heard or many a times, let me go back to some previous slides. When we have started with the OOP concept, we have listed that there are four major OOP concepts, that is polymorphism can be achieved with method overriding and overloading. Inheritance can be achieved with the help of extends, parent-child relationship. Encapsulation can be achieved with the help of classes and objects. And the last but not least, that is abstraction, can be achieved with the concept called abstract classes and interfaces. Now, first of all, what is an abstraction? I'm not talking about abstract class right now, I'm talking about abstraction. So if I talk about abstraction, it refers to hiding of data. Hiding of data. I don't want to reveal some of the critical or major aspect of my class to anyone else. I can hide the data into abstract through abstraction. Or I can, in another word, I can also say that abstraction refers to showing the necessary things only, right? Either you say that hiding of data, or you can say that showing the necessary things only. Now let me give you the example of abstraction, right? Now for example, we all are using mobiles, right? Suppose I want to call someone. What I will be doing, I'll be going to the phone, that contact list. I'll be clicking on the person whom I want to talk with. Then I'll be just pressing the call button, and that's it. I'll be having the person in the opposite side, right? Now, do you think this particular process of calling a particular member or number, or dialing it and then calling and talking, is it so easy? Is it so easy that it feels? No, there are so many things behind the curtain, that when you press, the connection must be established, and you will be studying. I don't know about your syllabus for the network. In the advanced network, you might be learning that there are so many different kinds of routes available and networks available, and the person will be in opposite to you by so many different tasks involved internally, right? Your hardwares are involved, your softwares are involved, your networks are involved, so many things is done. But as a user, you are not supposed to know all these things in behind, right? You, as a user, you just want to talk with the person, and your operating system, your mobiles, your networks is giving you one of the easiest way to connect with the person, right? So that becomes an abstraction. You are typing a message, you are sending a whatsapp message to someone else, you are just typing and clicking the send button. Internally, the encryption is done, compression is done, the connection is established, it is storing, it has been stored in some buffer. Then when the opposite person will be online, the person will be getting that messages, you will be getting the updates whether the person has read the message or not. So many internal things are going to internally, which you are not aware, rather we are not aware as a normal user. And that is what the beauty of abstraction, right? कोई भी ले लो, आप कुछ भी ले लो, आप एक कार ले लेते हो, व्हेन यू आर बाइंग अ कार यू आर जस्ट सीइंग द फ्रंट ऑफ इट, यू आर नॉट एज अ यूजर, यू आर नॉट कंसर्न कि यहाँ से कनेक्शन कैसे होता है, गियर की मैकेनिज्म क्या है, कैसे ब्रेक सिस्टम वर्क करती है, कैसे फ्यूल सिस्टम वर्क करती है, यू आर नॉट कंसर्न, दैट अ मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर इज or automobile engineer is concerned about, right? So showing the necessary details as per the user, that is what the abstraction role is, and this abstraction can be achieved in one of the ways through abstract classes. Now, when we will be discussing the further topics in abstraction, I will be showing you the, I'll be talking you much about the abstraction later. Right. Now, abstract classes. Is it clear, abstraction, everyone? Shall I proceed? The concept is clear? Yes or no? Okay, Vicky, great, great. Now, let's say I'm having a simple class. Let's first of all design a class, or rather, what a class will be having. Can anyone tell me what my class will contain? What my class will contain? Now be very specific and use the jargons. Don't say variables and methods and functions. No. Yes, correct, Harshit. First thing my class is going to have is the data member. And now you should be able to visualize that when I say data member, actually I'm talking about the variables inside a class. But we should be speaking the term as data member. Don't use variables for a class. Similarly, yes, correct. And the second major important thing we will be having is member function. Member functions. Now, right now, I am focusing on this member functions. Now, what a function will have? What are the different parts of a function? When I design a function, what are the different parts of a function? You will be having, let me give you a hint, let me start the answer. Yes, no, let me start with the first thing. The function will be having a return type, function will be having a name, function will be having the parameter list, and the function will be having the function body. So these four are the parts of a function. Now, so far we have seen that our member function is having a return type, like we have used this, right? Void m1, right? So what is this? This is a function. It is having return type, it is having name, it is having parameter list, and it is having function body, right? So far we have seen that the functions which we have created so far are having return types, right? It is having the name, correct? It is having the parameter list, and it is having the function body as well. Function body as well. So this type of functions which are having all the four things with it, I repeat, the functions, member functions right now, obviously, the member functions which are having all the four things with it, return type, name, parameter list, and function body, these are called let me change the color, sorry. These are called concrete methods in Java. Concrete methods. Concrete method means it has everything with it. It has everything with it. It will be having return type, it will be having name, it will be having parameter list, and it will be having the function body. So whenever from now onward, when I say that this is a concrete method, that means you are supposed to visualize that this function is going to have everything with it. It will be having return types, name, parameter list, and function body. Fine. Now, what is an abstract class? Abstract class is a class in Java which will be having which may or may not have data member. I'm not focusing on data member, because data member is not that much important in abstract class. Means there is no difference between the data member point of view. The thing is, abstract class will be having abstract methods. Now the new word is abstract method. Abstract class will be having, am I audible everyone? There is some network issue from my side. Now all okay everyone? Okay. So abstract class will be having abstract method. Abstract methods. Now what are abstract methods? As we have concrete methods where you will be having all the four things, that is return type, name and parameter list, along with the function body, your abstract methods will be having only three things. Can anyone say which will be the three things? Just a wild guess. What will my abstract method have? It will be having the return type, of course. Then it will be having the function name as well, function name, and it will be having parameter list. The function body will be missing. So there will be no function body with abstract class. Yes, return type, name and parameter list, no function body. Correct, Harshal. So this is all an abstract method. Now what is an abstract class? An abstract class is a class which is having at least one abstract method. There is a variation here also, but let me give you the simplest definition. Abstract class is a class which is having at least one abstract method. One abstract method. Yes, one more thing you have to remember, that you can design an abstract class without the abstract method as well. So it is not necessary that abstract class will be having compulsorily one abstract method, but if there is at least one abstract method inside a class, that class becomes abstract class. I repeat my statement that it is not necessary that every abstract class will be having abstract method, but if a class is having at least one abstract method, that class is an abstract class. And how to declare a class as abstract? With the help of the keyword, as it is a keyword, everything in small, with the help of the keyword called abstract. When I write abstract in front of the method or with the class, my class and method will be abstract. When I create an abstract method, my method must not have the function body with it. Let me show you with the code as well. Right. Let me create one more file here. Right. Now, again that package I am supposed to write it here. Sorry. Package lecture programs. Okay. Okay. Let me show you class. Say bank. Let's say bank. Now, this is when I don't write anything with the class, my class becomes concrete class. As you have concrete method, you will be having concrete class. So a class having all the concrete methods will be a concrete class. But if a class is having at least one abstract method, it is not necessary that a class can have only one abstract method. A class can have multiple abstract methods, but at least if a class is having one abstract method, my class becomes abstract. Right now, if I don't mention any keyword with the class, by default it will be concrete class. But it may happen that you don't have, let's say I'm writing void m1, which is this type of method, which is the type of the method right now we have wrote. This is what m1 is, which type of method? M1 is which type of method? No, just Harshil, have a look and just, yes. Have a look and tell me. Have a look and tell me, which is this type of method? You should have four things for a concrete method. Return type, function name, parameter list, and parameter list, it is not necessary that every time we'll be having the parameters here. It can be empty, right? But if you want, you can put it here. So if you don't have, just have an empty bracket. Now tell me whether it is concrete or abstract. If all the four things are there, then it is a concrete. Yes, correct, Alsef, Umang. Harshil, are you getting? Yes. So this is an abstract method. If I want to make it, abstract, first of all, two things I'm supposed to do. First of all, I should not have a function body associated with that, and I am supposed to have the keyword abstract. When I write the abstract keyword, see, your editor is also giving that abstract methods cannot have a body. So I just have to declare it like this, and function body should disappear, right? Correct, Harshil, exactly. So this is how it is. Now, as I have told you, that if you have at least one abstract method inside a class, your class becomes abstract. So it is giving you the error. It is saying that bank is not abstract, does not override the method, right? So here I have to compulsorily write the abstract keyword to make the class abstract. It may happen that you can have different methods. You can have the combination of the concrete method as well as abstract method. So this is what? A combination of concrete method and abstract method. Two are concrete and one is abstract, right? It is possible. It is also possible that you don't have any abstract method within the class and still my class can be abstract, right? I'll be telling you that what will be the use of such kind of abstract class where there is no abstract methods even. Fine, we'll be telling. So got the different scenarios, how to create abstract classes, in which scenarios the abstract class compulsory will be abstract class. Some of the scenarios are such that you don't have abstract methods, but still your class will be abstract. Okay, shall I proceed everyone? Yes, just think for 30 seconds. If you have query, let me know, then I'll be proceeding to the next thing. Yes, yes. So is there any query, guys? Shall I proceed? So this is what all about abstract class. Where, so in short, if in a nutshell, if I tell you that what will be the abstract class? A class which is having at least one abstract method will be the abstract class, or a class with the keyword abstract can be declared, can be an abstract class. Now, what are the properties associated with abstract class? When you say that, okay, abstract class तो बना दिया, लेकिन उसकी characteristic अब क्या है? कैसे बनाना है? With the keyword. And in which scenarios it will be abstract? बोल दिया कि अभी एक भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट मेथड होगी उसमें तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बन जाएगा. ऑटोमेटिकली मतलब वो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ही होगा, लेकिन वी हैव टू राइट द कीवर्ड विथ इट. Now, what are the characteristics associated with abstract class? First of all, first and foremost, you have to remember that it cannot be instantiated. Instantiated. What do you mean by this? This is the word I have used for you to remember, and you are supposed to write this word in the exam. Instantiated. Yes, object cannot be created for that class. You cannot have the instance of that class. And what is the instance? Object is the instance of class, right? So for an abstract class, one of the foremost characteristic is we cannot instantiate it. That means no direct objects. Please do remember, students, we are having a major difference between reference and an object. And I am talking that the direct object of abstract class cannot be created. That means, let's say I'm having the abstract class bank here, and just a second. And let's say I'm having another class, the name is abstract class demo, which is my main class. So I'll be writing public static void main string args anything, right? Now I cannot instantiate my abstract class directly. That means object cannot be made. Now if I try to make object like this, it will give me error. It will not allow me to compile as well, because bank is an abstract, cannot be instantiated. Fine with this? Agreed? I told you that it cannot be instantiated. Object cannot be made. So you cannot make the object. But do remember that you can always create a reference of abstract class. There will not be any kind of problem if you just create a reference, because reference actually is not a memory. It does not have any memory. It is reference is a pointer which is pointing to some object, right? So we are not creating any memory for the object yet, only if we have created a reference. So it will not be having any problem. So it will allow us to create reference, but it will not allow us to create the direct object. Shall I proceed to the next characteristics? Next characteristics are a little bit obvious then, and you have to accept it, that it can have constructors. It sometimes it might be it feels that it is weird, right? When you cannot have the object, when you cannot create an object, how can you, what will be the use of constructor then, right? So don't always think that constructor is helpful only to create objects. Constructor are useful to initialize the data members, and abstract class is a type of class only. So if you want to initialize the data member of the abstract class, you can use constructors. And abstract class will be automatically called whenever the child, okay, I'll justify myself little bit afterwards sometimes why it can have constructors. Fine. The third is it can have, yes, this is one of the important thing, it can have final methods. What was final methods, students? Can you recall what are final methods? Yes, no, cannot be changed, वो final variable के लिए था, वो final variable के लिए था. What are final methods? See, this is a confusing thing. I have told you at the time of learning this topic that final is a confusing. Final with variable, final with method, and final with class. All these three, even you'll be having finally, even one more thing, finalize will be there. So these all are very, very confusing. You should be very clear with the things. What is final? Final with method. You can have final method inside abstract class. What does this mean? Yes, cannot override. The method cannot be overridden in the child class. Great, Kinjal. So what I want to say is, I can have, this is a concrete method, that's fine, right? But I can have final method as well now inside an abstract class. So these are few characteristics of abstract class. Will be coming through more characteristics later on. Now let me tell you the use of abstract class. Okay, abstract class कैसे बनाते हैं, abstract class की characteristics क्या है, ये सब हो गया. Now let us have the use of abstract class. Use of abstract class. Okay, generally the abstract class is always created as a base class. Created as a base class. Now let me give you the example and you will say that yes, this is appropriate. Okay, let's say I'm having the same example I am using, right? Now I'm having a class called bank. Let's say a simple class. We are not having any kind of abstraction right now. We'll say that I'm having a method called void get rate of interest, right? Say for savings account, I want to extract, or I want to know the rate of interest for a bank. Let's say system system.out.println, let's say I'm having a variable called double rate, right? Simple, double rate, and rate is equal to rate of interest is equal to plus rate. Okay, that's it. Okay, now let's say I'm having the object of type bank, and if I write get rate of interest. Okay, now what will be the value of rate of interest for a bank for savings account? Tell me. Can anyone give me the rate of interest value for a bank? Is it possible for us? Okay, Vicky. Vicky is telling 4%. Will it be same for all the bank? Will it be same for all the bank? Is it necessary that all the banks will be keeping the same rate of interest for savings account? No, of course not. Now, when I say that draw a shape, which shape you will draw? Draw a shape. Which shape will you draw? Right? It is not specific. I am talking about some general thing. I'm talking about some general thing which is actually does not have a meaning. Unless and until if I say that give me the rate of interest for State Bank of India. Is it possible for you to give me the exact amount, exact figure? If I say give me the rate of interest for State Bank of India, is it possible for you to give? Yes. If I say give me the rate of interest for HDFC, is it possible for you to give me the exact value? Yes. Yes. But is it possible for you to give me the exact value when I say give me the rate of interest for a bank? Unless and until I don't tell you the name of the bank, it is not possible for you to give me the value. Similarly, unless and until I don't tell you to draw a particular shape, rectangle, square, triangle, it is not possible for you to draw. So actually drawing a shape is meaningless. Drawing a circle has a meaning. Drawing a rectangle has a meaning. But drawing a shape, do you think it is having any meaning? Logically. See, syntactically, we can create a class bank and we can perform whatnot, right? But is it logically correct to perform these kind of operations? Rate of interest on current account, rate of interest on savings account, and calculating the fixed deposit rates and everything, updating withdrawing money and depositing the money and doing some transaction. Is it logical for a bank class? No. But is it possible for SBI Bank? Yes, because it is having the specific things associated with it. For ICICI, yes. For HDFC, yes, but not with a bank. Are you getting? Vicky, I hope I'm clear now. Okay, so abstract class are such class that you don't want the direct instances of that. You don't want the direct instances to be used, but you want that many classes should inherit. Let me give you the example for the same bank. Now if I include rate of interest and then FD interest and account number, account type, IFSC code, and so many things which we have with the bank, then is it common for all the bank? Is it common for all the bank? Account number? Yes. Rate of interest? Yes. Then IFSC code? Yes. So all these things are common. No, I'm not talking about value, Alsef. I'm talking about the properties. Is every bank will possess all the things? Alsef, am I clear? Yes. So it is better to put that in the base class so that all the child classes of that class will be inheriting that property, and you don't have to repeat the same thing again and again. Just use it, and according to the bank you can manipulate, you can write the logic for that, right? Now if I make this abstract, what happens when I say my class is an abstract class and having the abstract method called rate of interest, then it is compulsory. See, I cannot create the object of that class. That is now fixed because it is an abstract class. And why we created the abstract class? Because logically there is no meaning of creating the object of bank. Okay, so now it is compulsory. And why we create the abstract class? So that the child class can use it. So let's say I'm having class HDFC extends bank. HDFC is a bank. That's why we can have parent-child relationship between these two. So extends bank. Now it is compulsory. I repeat, it is compulsory for HDFC bank to give the definition of this get rate of interest method, because actually it is an incomplete method. It is forcing you, the abstract class is forcing the child class to give the implementation of this method, because it is compulsory for a bank to give rate of interest, to have a rate of interest. Am I clear? Why we have kept this method as abstract? So that it is compulsory for a child class to define this inside inside that class. Are you getting? Why we are keeping abstract? So that it can implement. And why it has to implement? Because these are some compulsory things every child class have to have. Now if you are saying you are a bank and if you don't have a rate of interest, what is the purpose, right? Logically no sense. That's why we are forcing the bank, HDFC bank, to give the definition of that get rate of interest specific to that bank. See, here the bank says, the bank class only says that you should have a rate of interest. Your bank class is not forcing HDFC bank to have this rate of interest only. It is not a final method. Final means what? We cannot override. We have to use the parent class method only. It is not that. We are saying why we have kept interest, why we have kept it abstract, so that you can write your own rate of interest here. ठीक है, समझ में आया? There are two options for HDFC. First, it has to give the definition. अभी definition कैसे देंगे? Void get rate of interest. That's it. You can use system.out.println and rate of interest is this. Just give that, right? So you can write any logic you want here. तो ये हो गया एक ऑप्शन HDFC बैंक के लिए. अदरवाइज HDFC बैंक और एक और ऑप्शन होता है चाइल्ड क्लास के लिए. क्या होता है? मान लो मैंने HDFC बैंक यहाँ पे नहीं लिखा, मैंने यहाँ लिखा प्राइवेट बैंक. प्राइवेट बैंक इज ऑल्सो अ बैंक. सो अगेन प्राइवेट बैंक का रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट क्या है? कुछ नहीं, राइट? यू कैन नॉट बी स्पेसिफिक कि प्राइवेट बैंक का रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट क्या है. तो ये इसको भी ये डिफाइन नहीं कर सकता, ये प्राइवेट बैंक क्लास भी इसको डिफाइन नहीं कर सकता. So again what I can do, I can make this class as abstract because it is not giving the definition, because it is not defining the abstract methods. I have to make that class private. अभी मैं ये कर सकती हूँ कि class HDFC extends private bank, right? Now HDFC has two options, either to keep itself as abstract or to define the abstract method. So if you see the inheritance hierarchy, at least at the leaf level, there must be the definition for the abstract method. Otherwise, every class in the hierarchy will be abstract and there will not be use of that. अभी लीफ क्लास भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट होगा तो उसका मतलब क्या है? मैं ऑब्जेक्ट तो क्रिएट कर नहीं सकती, ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट नहीं कर सकती तो उसके मेथड, उसके डेटा मेंबर्स कुछ भी एक्सेस नहीं कर सकती. Am I clear with this abstract? We don't have much time. We Yeah, you can write your numbers here. I'll be marking the attendance. You can join the next session. Thank you all of you for the joining. Take care and wish you a happy day ahead.